This time on Instant Mods, which panel was repainted 3 times? Was it the door? Ooh. Was it a drive bay cover? Ooh, nice. Or was it the freaking bottom of this damn case? Did turn out nice though. Hey, welcome back. So last time we got everything under primer. Since then I have fixed a dent, sanded and scuffed everything, including our plastics, and we are now ready to put our sealer down. We're starting with a base coat of silver sealer from Createx, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to paint the interior of the case, so the inside of the case, the back side of the door, first, let them dry, and that way I can set everything up on my stands and paint the sealer candy and clear without having to jack with this too much or have it hanging from a wire and swinging or anything like that. So we'll paint these. I'm going to be, as you can tell, airbrushing them with my new airbrush. There's a lot of small weird spots to get into, and I thought, well, I have a new toy to play with, so why not try it out and get a feel for it? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that set up, spray the back sides of these, and then once those are dry, we'll be able to flip these over, put them on the stands, and start the rest of the paint job. So let's kick some music and get started. Everything's dry and ready to be taped. Now the airbrush did stripe the finish a little bit. It's not really the best method for putting paint over such a big area. And I did spray it a little bit dry just to see what it could do. But since it's the inside of the case, I'm not concerned about it. So let's get these taped and get it sprayed on the other side. And that's everything taped. I did tape the inside of the case. I know I said I wasn't concerned about overspray, and I'm not, but it'll look nicer. And I had the tape, so I went ahead and did it. Also, the front panel, I'm spraying it with the drive bays installed, the covers. That way, when we do the flake and the candy, all this matches when it's put together. I'm not so concerned about the sides. I'll catch those with an airbrush, get them close after I'm done. But when this is sitting there, I want all these to match perfectly. So with that said, let's put them on the stands and put down some paint. Okay, that is our sealer down. Now I did follow that with a coarse aluminum from Createx. And what that is just basically a metal flake over the top. It evened out all of my silver, and it's gonna give me a nice base that put that candy over. So now I would have said we're ready for our tangerine that I'm gonna paint the case, but I've had kind of a change of heart. And it's not in the colors, it's just that my original plan had been to paint the whole case tangerine, clear it, go back, put my designs on top of that, and then clear those down, which would work and is typical of what I would do for most paints. But since I'm using the candies, they're both going over the same base. I figured I could tape out the areas where my panels and stuff are gonna go, and that way I wouldn't have to paint those tangerine, put clear on them. I could just do the outer edges in tangerine, do the interior panels, and then clear it all at once, and hopefully the paint job will come out really flat the first round of clear. Also, that's going to save me a lot of paint. That's saving a layer of candy, a layer of clear, and another layer of sealer in those spots where those designs are going to be. So saving money, saving material, saving time. Well, maybe a little bit of saving time. But, well, it'll be saving me a coat of clear over the whole case. But so that's the plan. So now we're going to tape out kind of the general idea of the designs and where the panels are going to go. And then we'll be ready to mix up our tangerine and get some color on this. Okay, so where are we? We've got all our detail panels taped out and masked off. I did go through and fix a few spots in the paint that I messed up. That worked out pretty well. That silver and aluminum blends in really well. I did recoat the back of the panel just to get all the flakes lined up the right way so it didn't stand out if you were at an angle. But after that, I cleared all my tape lines to keep bleeding to a minimum. And now I think we're ready to figure out how we're going to paint this thing. Normally with opaque paints, you can put them on different stands, paint, 4 coats on this one, 3 coats on that one. Comes out the same color because it's the same color of paint. But candies are different. That's a dye floating in a clear coat, and every layer changes that color, makes it more intense. So if you're heavy-handed on one and light-handed on another, they're going to wind up being different colors, and if those are panels that match together, that's going to look weird. So what I'm going to have to do is kind of half-heartedly assemble all this so that where my door meets the case meets the front panel, all those are the same color when they come together. So that's the plan. We're going to kind of put this together. We'll end up sitting it on its back while we paint the top, the bottom, the door, and the front together. And then I can flip the case over, paint the back. I think I can match it up pretty well. There might be a little overspray over the sides, but around the corners I don't think it's going to be too big of a problem, I hope. We'll see when we get to it. But that's the plan. We'll put this thing together. We'll get it set up for paint, and then we'll mix up some of that candy, and hopefully we'll get some color on this thing. Okay, so right now you were thinking you were going to watch me be mixing paint so that I could spray candies on these things. And that was the plan. If you can see it, table set up, fans on. That was the plan. Get this thing ready, put it in there, spray candy on it, be done with the big part of it, the tangerine. Or at least the top of the case, and something for the video. I mean, that's been the whole video. Get it to candy. That is not going to happen. So this started after I finished half-heartedly putting the case together. I noticed that there were some chips in this edge. Nothing big. I mean, we're talking a centimeter long, maybe a millimeter wide, just where the paint had been knocked off the edge. I thought, well, I'm going to fix those real quick. And I did. Put some sealer in them, got them sanded out. They were nice and flat. I was going to take aluminum over it and get it blended in. And I thought, well, since this panel, when I sprayed it the first time, it was a little rough. So I kind of sanded it a little flatter, and I was going to blend all the aluminum in because I was having trouble with the backside, getting the aluminum to match. And I thought, well, it's a small panel, not a lot of show as far as the silver went. I can spray the whole thing real quick with an airbrush. Not hard. And instead of watching how much paint was going down, Dave, this idiot, decided to watch how the flake was going down to match up the flake, to make it... The flake has been what's determined if this matches or not, as far as blending the silver in. If it's going down the same direction and shining the same way, it looks fine. You can get it where it's off kilter a little bit, and it just seems weird. So I was watching that as I was laying my aluminum down and put way too much paint on. I screwed up. It ran. No way to fix it. I mean, what do? Wipe all the paint off? So I let it dry, pulled my masking off, sanded the whole side down, repainted it. That was last night. It looked great. Checked it this morning. Perfect. And so I thought, tonight we'll just come home, we'll mask this thing off, we'll put it on the table, we'll spray the candy. I mean, the paint should be dry, ready to have paint put back on it. That stuff's supposed to be, the clear in there is tape ready in 60 minutes or so, and it's had a night and a day to dry. So we should be good to go. And so I put my edges down to give me a border and lined out my tape in there and got my lines made up, and pulling that edge piece off. remove some paint right there. And right there. And right here. So the tape just ripped it right off. That's beautiful, fun. And not even just like some of the paint. That's down to bare metal. I'm clueless what happened with that. But needless to say, that is a wrench in the plans. So I don't think we'll be doing candy this video, unfortunately. But yeah, I was already pushing this back a week because of trying to fix this and get it knocked out this week and get the candy down to have something. And this just, I didn't need this. So what I'm going to do is get this fixed, and that's going to be the video for this week. And then the next video will be candy. That will give me 2 weeks to screw this thing up and fix it again before I have to put candy on it. So, I'm hopeful. We'll get this thing sanded up. We'll get it patched up and show you what's going on with that. And then we're gonna call it on this video and give the case a couple of days and the paint a couple of days to rest before we touch it again. Before I look at it, I'm probably gonna let it sit down here 2 days by itself. I don't want this stuff to feel like it wants to fall off the case again. This is enough. So we're gonna go ahead, call that the video. Next video we'll hopefully be getting this thing put together and putting candy on it and be getting done. In between now and then, we're gonna let this cure up and decide whether or not I want to actually put a design on it. This is the bottom of the case. Putting a design there is merely a flex. No one's ever gonna see it. The only people who are going to see it is the people you're showing it off to, because you're like, hey, look, I even painted the bottom of the case. So it's not a necessity. If I do put something down there, I did order some different tape for my guide tape. So less stick. Hopefully it won't pull paint off this time. But we'll figure that out between now and then. For now, I guess, take care of yourselves and get out there and mod something.